Yo, what's going on, guys? Rhys here from More Than Lifting with the More Than Lifting podcast. Conversations about calisthenics, bodyweight training, gymnastics, all that good stuff. I'm Rhys, a personal trainer from the UK, founder of More Than Lifting, and in this episode I'm going to talk to you about the one workout framework, which is basically a training template that you can apply once you hit that foundation level. You know, once you've worked through your foundation exercises, you've mastered pull-ups, you've got your dips down, you've got your leg raises down, you've got your tuck raises, your rows and your push-ups down, and you're ready to move on to more advanced skills. Okay, and this one workout framework is a very simple way of adjusting what you're doing at the minute to allow for advanced skill training. Okay, now the thing about the skills is, when you first get back into your training, you're eager to learn new skills. Once you work so hard up towards that foundation level, and you're desperate to start tackling more advanced stuff, more interesting stuff than just pull-ups and dips. All right, but it's very difficult to do because there are so many different skills, so many different exercises, different levels of isometrics and dynamic movements that you can try and work. You kind of get stuck in the middle thinking, what am I supposed to go for? And to be honest with you, it's a lot of training. Like it's a lot of training. So you can often think, like, how on earth am I going to fit all that into 2 or 3 or 4 sessions a week? You know, how can I get that and still achieve my goals? You know, I want to hit a certain level in this kind of time. I want to have my lever for summer or whatever. You know, how can I fit all that training into half hour, 40 minutes, maybe an hour workout tops? Because we're all busy people. We're not spending 3 hours a day down the gym training, working on our skills, working on our mobility, you know, working on our cardio, working on our strength. You know, it's all got to kind of fit together and integrate into a tiny space, and that's just a short amount of time. So that's why I came up with this one workout framework. It's designed to enable a busy person, you know, a human being in the Western world or in the real world. Everyone's busy now, aren't they? It gives them the tool that they can then apply to whichever skill they're after and still know that they're going to cover all their strength, all the movement patterns, you know, and it's making sure you're not leaving anything out whilst you're focusing on something else, because that is the danger, really, that you neglect one aspect of your training in order to focus on something else. And yeah, you kind of have to, like, you have to neglect some aspects because you just don't have the time, but you can try and minimize that and optimize your actual workouts so that you can reduce the amount of neglect that happens, or you can even work it in a way that helps boost everything, which we'll get into in a bit, or in another episode, sorry. So you got this one workout framework then. How does it work? Well, the basic premise is, once you get to this foundation level, really what you want to do, as we've already spoken about, is use this as a template for your training. So to make it as simple as possible, we stick with the foundation workout, or more or less. We drop the L-sits and the assisted pistols just for the sake of fitting another set in, and we add skills in. Now, realistically speaking, you know, just like I do, that you front load your training. The hardest stuff goes when? Right at the start of your workouts. Most of the time, your skills are going to be the hardest stuff you're working on. So that means you need to do your skill training at the front of your workout. You front load that training. All right, and this works well because while you've got all this energy, you put it into, we'll use planche today. So you got all your energy, you're ready for it's a new day, down the gym, down wherever, at home, ready to train. Do a quick warm up, get the blood pumping, loosen up a little, get your planche training in. All right, if you do all your pull-ups and your dips first, and then you try and do a planche, you won't be able to straighten your arms, you won't be able to lift your back up, your bum up in the air like you need to get level with your shoulders. You won't, your posture, your form, your strength, it will just all be suffering because you've wasted that valuable training time at the front of your session doing pull-ups. All right, so what you do is you do your skill training first. So we start with the skills. You work your planche. Like I said in about 4 episodes back, I think, when we were talking about how to apply these training, the isometric progression templates and the skill progression templates into your workouts. We spoke about getting straight in there and working the skill. The first thing you do is do your highest level version of that skill that you can. So in the planche example, you start training, you do your warm-up, and then what do? You do a planche, or you do a straddle if that's your best one, or a single leg if that's your best one, in which case you do 2, or you do an advanced tuck if that's your best one, but you give it your all. And what you're doing then is you're working all the muscles that you need for your planche. Genius, right? And not only that, but you're working them when you've got the most energy. It was madness. I mean, how could it be so perfect? And then all those little muscles, they'll be the ones that really get all the training here. All the little bits, the coordination, the tiny little supportive muscles, not your big lat plates or your chest, you know, your pecs. It'll work all the tiny little weak points in across your body that are stopping you from getting that planche. You know, so you're doing that, you're working those bits first, and then what? You can't do any more planche stuff because you've done a few little planche training exercises. What I'd recommend, what we just stick to really, is the 3 sets. So just pick 3 kind of variations. So you do your planche hold. That's the first one. The second one, maybe you do, you drop it down because you won't be able to do any more of your straddle planches now. So you drop to single leg. And then you'll do maybe single leg lifts, or you'll do like a handstand lower down to a single leg planche, or you'll do like planche bicycle kicks. So you'll switch your legs, or you do, you know, that. So you've really got quite a lot of options with these. You take the next set is your next skill. So then you do that one, and then whatever other supportive exercise, maybe some planche leans or something like that. Maybe it's just some tuck planches, or you do some like tuck to frog kind of switches where you do that kind of open straddle support position, like your advanced tuck into your tuck planche and back out, which is a great exercise. Sorry, my description of it is horrendous. I apologize for that, but I'll get a video up on Instagram, and I'll put it in the show notes so that you can see what I'm on about. But it's basically going from like an advanced tuck, and then you straddle your legs, keeping your knees bent, straddle out into an advanced frog, and then you bring your legs back into a tuck, and you kind of in and out for reps. And that's just a great planche training exercise. But yeah, so you should definitely do that if you're trying to work your planche. You should definitely try that. It's a great exercise. But you see how it's taken like another set of another variation of a dynamic skill kind of training drill, a conditioning exercise, and then you apply that to your training. So you rinse out all of your planche stuff right at the start. It's the hardest stuff. Do it first, and that'll give you the most planche gains. Then you're a bit knackered. It's time to move on to the next section of your workout, which is your strength section. So as we spoke about with your strength section, we're using this template of the foundation Triset, the template for all of your progressive strength, your calisthenics strength training. That is your strength template. We already know that's your strength Triset. So you do your pulls, you do your dips, you do your leg raises. All right, and what this does is it helps to keep everything balanced, as we've already spoken about. But as a real life example now, you're working your planche. You've just done loads of planche training. The planche is obviously a push heavy one because you're pushing into the ground. You're like pressing into the ground. So it's kind of a push heavy lever, a kind of a push heavy skill. So even though that's the case, that doesn't mean you shouldn't do dips. You should still be doing dips because you're working 2 different types of, you have 2 different focuses at each point. One is working a particular skill, so it's holding a particular position or getting strong in a particular position by creating some dynamic movement around it. Whereas your dips are all of your push muscles, so your chest, your triceps, your delts, like all those main big parts, those main muscle groups of your body, they get it in the strength session. So your pulls, you got your back, you got your biceps, and you got your chest, and you got your triceps for your push, and then you do your leg raises to rinse out that core and that trunk, your obliques, and kind of your shoulders and your wrists as well. I think we can all agree on that. So that is that then. You do your 3 sets of 10 again, just round in a cycle, nice and easy. What you can also do here is switch them out as you get more advanced to the different variations for each type. So maybe you do archer pulls and you do Russian dips, and leg raises still. Leg raises, I mean, there are other variations. You could probably do one arm leg raises by then. That's pretty cool. Quite difficult to stay stable, but once you get the movement of it, you can probably do 3. I think I can only do about 3. They are fucking hard. So the next thing anyway, after you've got that foundation triset, what do you reckon it is? Finishers, that beginner triset. You drop it down another level. Level 1, you got your push-ups, your rows and your tuck raises. Now with your finishers, what I'd actually recommend you do is switch out those tuck raises for flutter kicks, just because you're going to be exhausted by the time you get here, and this, for a start, you can lie down, but also you can do this to the death. It's a lot easier to do than tuck raises. Right, there's loads of different parts of the tuck raise. You got your locked arms, you got your shoulder movement, you got your wrist strength, as well as your core, and your hip flexors. So there's actually a lot of muscles that take a bit of a beating while you do your tuck raises. If instead you do flutter kicks, like you're rinsing out your hip flexors, your core and your obliques still, but you're not worrying about your arms not being strong enough to support you now because you've just done a lot of planche training and a lot of dips and a lot of pull-ups. So what I recommend for your finishes is you just switch them out for flutter kicks, get on a bench and like slide down so your arse is right on the edge, so you've got the greatest range of motion you can, and just go wild for as long as you can to the death. That's how finishers work. And then after that you get your cool down. Obviously you always warm up at the start, like I said. Your cool down at the end is really like nice slow stretches, a little bit of maybe like some low level drills or something, but nothing serious. It's more about mobility, movement, and kind of relieving yourself of potential DOMs, and then to the next day get out that lactic acid out of your system, and then go and get in the sauna, because that's really what we all want to do. So guys, I'll be honest with you, that's about it. That's the basic structure of the one workout framework. There is a caveat. All right, because some skills, like a handstand, for example, aren't really strength heavy per se. They are a great exercise for training, and they could be described as a strength exercise. Like do 50 handstands now, and tell me that you can do another one. The point is, it's actually a skill. It's a balancing exercise. It is a balance, basically. You're standing on your hands. So that shouldn't take as much strength as like working on your planche. Instead, you're learning your coordination. So if you're working on something like a handstand, which is very, very skill, that's right at the skill end of the skill spectrum as opposed to the strength end of the spectrum, then that would be better because it doesn't put a lot of strain on your body. To do that later in the workout, and it's really easy to do, instead of going right only handstands right at the start, just go into the gym, maybe do a couple of your warm up, then maybe do some like bunny hops, or maybe do a couple of handstands just to warm up and get in that position. Rinse out your pulls, rinse out your dips, rinse out your leg raises, get that foundation tricep out of the way, and then do some handstands. And that's great because you are pre-fatiguing, which often is a bad thing with a lot of these strength-based skills. But with your handstands, what it'll actually help you do half the time, sometimes you just fall apart and it won't work at all, but the half the time that it works well, it'll actually help you improve your handstand better by forcing you to struggle with it. It'll make it harder for you, all right? And that can actually transfer into lots of strength, and because it makes it more of an isometric tension exercise rather than a balance, and it really emphasizes the hold part. That we're doing like a negative press or something would, where you force that hollow body and you slowly come down in that negative press until your feet and your hands are both on the floor. And that is just a great example of how you could use that as a strength training, as a strength drill for working your handstands. Anyway, the point is, if you're doing something like handstands, don't try and throw all your handstand training right at the start of the session. Instead, bring it a little bit later as well, so you can spread it out and you can work whilst you're pre-fatigued from doing your strength tricep, because it'll force you to adjust more. It'll force your body to react more to what's going on, and it does make handstands a lot harder. Right, what else have we got? So who is this for actually? That'd be something good we could cover. Who is this actually good for? Who is this workout for? If you're getting started and you're just starting out with calisthenics, like this workout structure isn't for you. Focus on the foundation, get that strength level up, and then start directing your attention towards skills. There's no reason you can't think about tuck levers and German hangs and some stuff like that, but that's down to you as an individual, and I really recommend you get the screen first and you get someone to actually look at your skills before you start throwing yourself at something that could be quite dangerous if you don't have the right coaching. I'm more than happy to help with that. DM me on Instagram with little videos and we can talk about it and improve your technique, improve your form and stuff. But without proper screening, I can't tell you that, oh, you got to be careful there because you might have your because of your shoulder, because I don't know what your shoulder's like. Well, I went off on a bit of a tangent there, didn't I? So this is for people who have hit that foundation level and are ready to move on. And it's a great little template because all you're doing is taking your foundation workout and shoving your skills on top. It is really that simple, and you don't need to overcomplicate it. You can take skills to different levels, and over the next few episodes we're going to be talking a lot about skills, training for your skills, and how you can work your skills into your workouts in different ways. This is just a basic template for everyone to use. Anyone can use it who is at this kind of level, ready to move on without specific targeted coaching. So take this, guys, this formula. If you're ready to hit your skills, or you're struggling to hit your skills, you don't have a lot of time to go training every day or work on your planche every day, but you really want to hit it still, use this one workout framework. You hit your skills, you hit your strength, you do your finishes, so you're really maximizing your results, plus you're working a little bit of mobility at the same time. And I know what you're thinking, what about cardio? Guys, if you know me, I recommend you just do HIIT training. And the truth is, you don't need to do HIIT training a lot, because a lot of these compound exercises, like me and Coach Snatch have spoken about in earlier episodes, you get this kind of effect called cardiac shunting, which is where your heart is forced to react to you working different parts of your body at different times. So if you're using a lot of energy and using a lot of oxygen up in your shoulders and your upper body, and then transfer that to doing some legs exercises or leg-based workouts, then all your blood is being pushed up in your body, and then suddenly it's all being pushed down. All right, it's this thing called cardiac shunting, and it's really good cardio training. It's really good for your heart, your circulatory system and all that. So it's a really good way to actually just do all your training. All right, so other than that though, do HIIT. Just do it once or twice a week or something like that, just to keep your fitness level at a decent level. And also you get the added benefit of just mental fat loss, which is always a good thing. Or the majority of the time is a good thing, I don't know. Anyway, guys, I've rambled enough. That's it for this episode. If you like what you heard, give us a honest 5-star rating and review. Hit subscribe. Send us to your mates, training partners. Spread the love and spread the gains. And follow me on Instagram at More Than Lifting, on the socials at More Than Lifting everywhere. If you want to reach out to me, just give me a DM. I'll get back to you. I'm a human being, so we can have a conversation. And yeah, sorry if I don't get back to you and immediately. Obviously I'm a busy guy as well, but I'll get back to you as soon as I can, and we can go back and forth however long we need to. If you haven't already, check out the 100 push-up challenge. It's week 14 right now, and so we're getting quite far into it. It's very difficult actually this week, because we've got raised pike push-ups and raised push-ups and stability push-ups and deep push-ups, which don't seem too bad, but actually when you're doing them on the 4th set it is pretty hard. And then lastly we've got Spider-Man push-ups to finish, which is just absolutely insane. So go check that out. We're going to be doing that on YouTube in the next couple of days. Otherwise, guys, that's it from me. As always, keep in touch with yourselves, and I'll catch you in the next episode on Monday.